Today, we know that we're trying to build here, and we're all aligned. As I've said many times since I've hired Eric, I love the overall message that he gave to the team his first day, and that was basically, we got to learn to be comfortable when we're uncomfortable. And I think what's happened is for those guys on that side of the ball, things are uncomfortable. There's been a lot of change. And the entire way of doing things has changed on the offensive side. Change is hard, and I've always encouraged our players to have great dialogue and build relationships with our staff. Since those conversations took place with Eric and the players, I've seen the improvements. And I can honestly say that the last couple of practices probably have been the best of training camp, which I think is great. To me, that displays the team is beginning to embrace the message and approach to how he does things and how we want things done. I also want to clear up the reference I made about Jack in comparison to Eric. I did not communicate that correctly, and I met with Eric. We had a great conversation, and that was cool. I think the biggest thing is that we're all on the same page, everybody. I'm fortunate to have an experienced staff, guys like Eric and Jack, and a roster of players who want to help this franchise take the next step. We're all working to build a culture where players and staff can respect each other's point of views and the way that we do things and continue to be very professional with one another. At the end of the day, we're all a family, and we're working towards the same goal, and that's to win. I just wanted to get that out there so everybody understands I wasn't as clear as I probably needed to be, and I own that, and that's on me.
So one of the things I'm sure, as you know, when people would talk about this, are like, why would Ron go down that road?
I think just to show the difference in who they are. You know, one guy's experience is different from the other guy's experience, but we all do things our way, and we all have the same goal in mind, and that's to win. And I think the best thing about it too is our players have learned. You know, their communications with our coaches has really, I think, is been a big part of why you're starting to see the improvement, because everybody understands why we're doing these things, what we're trying to get accomplished, and that's important.
And then, you know, because when you talked about like the Jack and you've been head coaches, what was you trying to convey there? Was it as much like if Eric wants to get to that point, he's got to be that way, or what is it that you were trying to convey?
I was just trying to convey that we all have our own way of doing things, you know, and neither one's better than the other. I mean, I had Buddy Ryan riding me for 2 years. I had Mike Ditka riding me for 9, and it's the way they did things. You know, their approach is completely different from mine. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that we're all different. And we all have our ways.
At the end of the press conference yesterday, you said some of the players had some concerns. I don't know if you elaborated on that.
I think the biggest thing more than anything else is everybody just wanted to know why. You know, what's he trying to get out of it? And when you understand why people do the things the way they do them, and you look at the end result, that's the important thing. And the best part is we're seeing them. You can't deny yesterday was a good practice, can you?
For your
No, I just asked you the question. Okay, don't be afraid of it, though. Come on. I mean, from my perspective, when I watched practice yesterday, I was very pleased. And I think a lot of it is because guys understand what we're trying to do. And that's what I think is important. And they understand it because they've had open dialogue with them. And that's the thing. I mean, honestly, the articles that were written yesterday, and I saw a couple of the headlines could say, oh, the players understand. The players are getting it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of what they said. And if you sit there and you read it and you go, wow, but it's the same thing for you guys. You get a new editor comes in and he's going to be different, and you got to go, oh, wow, why does he do that? But then all of a sudden you see why and you go, whoa, I get it. Well, that's what's happening. We're having these aha moments. And it's because there's been open dialogue. It's because guys have come to him and talked to him about it. And that's what is really appreciative, is that guys are willing to talk, and Eric's very honest and very blunt and very upfront, which I think is great. Because we all know where we stand, and that's the most important thing.
You noted that Eric is kind of set in his ways. He then came in and said the same thing. As the person who hired him to not only help the team, but to help him get to that next level, have you found him to be, has the reception of advice from you and guidance, do you feel it's been received to the way you would expect?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been great. He knows who he is, and he knows how he's going to do things, and that's great. I mean, we all do things differently, and that's all he's done, is just do it his way, do it the things the way that he knows how to do them best. And I have an appreciation of that, because I said I've probably played for two of the toughest throwback type guys that you could have, and to me, Eric is a little bit of a throwback.
Ron, you said at the beginning of camp the biggest things you were looking for Sam was consistent play and growth. How have you seen those two things kind of individually and then together?
Well, I think probably the last last couple of practices have really emphasized that you start to see the consistency in the decision making. You start to see the consistency in the throws, where they need to be placed. You see the handling of the calls. You know, it's that type of growth that you look for, and we're starting to see that.
And then, how do those things carry over to Friday?
I think the biggest thing is when we get on the field, more so than anything else, is going to be his command in the huddle, and then his command at the line of scrimmage, and then his decision making once the ball snapped. That's what we're looking for, is to see how he handles all those unique situations.
Hey Ron, Cam Curl had a tweet that said, "Ain't nobody soft over here, crazy man." Do you worry that your comments yesterday maybe created the perception that players might be soft, or did you have to address that with them at all?
Well, I think the biggest thing more than anything else is just the perception, you know, and that's the thing that we all deal with. And as I said, no, I don't. I think what it is just trying to understand why, more so than anything else. And that's why, to me, it was important. I just tell them, hey, just go talk to him. And Eric has an open door. Guys came in, guys talked with them, and you're starting to see the results when you look on the field. Guys understand, they get it. Guys aren't fighting it. Guys just kind of want to know why.
Gotcha. And did you address it with the team at all?
No.
Did you expect any of this when you hired Eric Bieniemy?
I didn't expect anything other than what we've gotten, and that's a guy that who he is, true to his personality. That was one of the things that drew me to him. I mean, I waited till the end of the Super Bowl to interview him and hire him. He's been everything that people have told me who he is. They told me he's going to hold people accountable. He's going to be the kind of guy that's going to go out there and do the things that he does and knows how to do. And he's been that, and the players are getting that. I mean, again, like I said, the last couple of practices have all pointed to one thing, and that is the growth of this football team, and not just on the offense, but overall. I mean, his impact is being felt by our offensive guys. His impact is being felt by everybody.
And when players came to you, was it about the intensity of practices, or was it something else that
No, just different things. They just wanted to understand him.
Gotcha.
And I think the biggest thing is, guys, go talk to him, find out who he is, and that's really what's happened. And I think that's, to me, has been a really good thing that's helped him and helping the players.
What were you like as a position coach and a coordinator, and when did you have that evolution that you were mentioning yesterday?
I think the biggest thing more so is when you do become a head coach, you have a whole different approach to everything. You see things on a global scale. You're not just on the offensive side, you know, or the defensive side or the special team side. And it gives you a different perspective, you know, and to your question, you know, as a position coach, yeah, I was different because I only cared about my position. And then all of a sudden you begin to realize I got to worry about the whole defense. Then you become a coordinator and you see only the defensive perspective. So each step you take is just part of the evolution and growth of you as a head coach.
Take 3 more.
In terms of temperament, were you a guy that rode players hard? And I guess when you did become a head coach, did that change quickly? Did it take time? What was that like?
I think it was just learning experience more than anything else, and that's really what this is about. You know, I'm different. I got a different personality than you and than Nikki, and it's about who you are, and it's about conveying your message. And at the same time, you know, it can be confusing to some people. What are you trying to get at? What do you want me to do? What do you need? Give me the direction. Tell me what, you know what I'm saying? Those are probably all the questions that guys asked. I'm not saying that's what they asked. I'm just saying that's probably what they asked.
On the flip side of all this, have any players spoken up and said, this is what we needed, this is the kind of coaching that
you got to talk to them about that. I've been very pleased, and like I said, yesterday's practice, the practice before that, I thought have all been really good. They've been up tempo. Yesterday we had a practice scheduled for 2.5 hours, and we got done in 2 hours and 15 minutes. The guys are doing the things that they need to do to give themselves a chance to be a good team, and Eric's had a big impact on that.
Last one. Did you and Eric have a chance to talk again specifically about yesterday?
We did. We talked about it, and it's, you know, and it was just, I basically told him, I put my foot in my mouth. I think what I said wasn't as clear as it needed to be, and I think the understanding of it is just the fact that I think everybody's making, in my opinion, a little bit more than needs to be made of this. Because, again, the results are what you're looking for on the field. And so far, the last couple of days have been outstanding. I think Eric has done a great job of communicating his message. Now that guys, have opened up, talked with him, he's opened up to them. It's been a great bit of growth the last couple of days that guys are starting to have the aha moments. That's why we do this. That's why we want that. It's we had a guy come out of a break one time and just really burst out of it, and the ball was right on time. And you sit there and go, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're looking for. Those are those aha moments that when you see those things, and it now becomes clear to you as to why. And I think that's what's happening. Guys are seeing the reason why as things happen in a positive fashion.
Sorry, for Friday, you guys have you determined how much the starters will play and the quarterbacks in particular?
We have.
You're afraid they will share that.
No.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate it.